We did a project prior to Agile Innovation, which was about introducing Agile to the software sector. And then off the back of that, because of that success and because it was clearly viable for other types of businesses, that's where Agile Innovation came from. We've got the software sector still, so we're still working with them. And then we're working with startups through things like Ignite and also established high growth businesses, which is helping them to kind of leverage the growth that they've been experiencing. There's a philosophy behind Agile, or a mindset behind Agile, which gives it a kind of a structure. And then there's various tools and materials that are a bit of a kind of pick and mix that you can adapt and evolve depending on what projects or what type of business you're doing or what goals that you've got to achieve. The boards are probably, the visual boards to track work are probably the ones that have been picked up the most. And then things like the estimation games and innovation games, which are like supporting that. So it helps to give it a structure. And then the tools help you to organise and bring a bit of order to that. Gives you a way to kind of organise and prioritise and review. So there's the kind of learn, do, review cycle that we've got that helps businesses to kind of break things down, really. In the software sector, everything changes. So you've got the external environment changing, the markets are changing, everything's changing. So they need a methodology that helps them to change as they go, because if they don't, then whatever they build is going to be out of date before it gets to market. So it's a system that allows you to kind of keep doing things in making lots of small incremental improvements. So it's taking that big idea and breaking it down into much more smaller goals, and also taking a test-driven approach. So you're doing a little bit, learning from that, and then you're doing a little bit more, learning from that, reviewing as you go, getting feedback, so that every time you go through that loop, you're improving and getting closer to your goal. It's interesting that different parts work well for different businesses. So a lot of businesses have adopted the road mapping, which helps them to kind of map out the next year and what they're looking to achieve. And then they also use the project management and the boards to track work in progress on a day-to-day basis. A lot of businesses really like the estimation games and the innovation games as well, because that helps to bring their teams together and make sure they've got a shared understanding and to be able to exchange information. I would say it's called Agile for a reason, in that you can change it and you can adapt it and evolve it to what best suits the team. They customise it and optimise it for what works best for them, so they can take bits and leave bits and change things. Certainly true for quite a few of the businesses that we've worked with is that they become quite structured and organised, and it's almost that kind of policy and procedure. And that stops them from being able to innovate a lot of the time. So it's trying to balance the two things, like running the business and having that consistency, which the boards can help with, but also having that change the business so people can use it to actually take change projects and be able to evolve and grow. And I think Rachel at MPAD touched on it really nicely when she said about how when they first started, because they didn't know what they were doing, they took a very agile approach. But then as the business has grown, they became much more kind of coordinated and fixed in how they did their approach. So Agile's really opened that back up for them to allow them to be a bit more kind of creative, really, rather than very kind of process driven. Well, usually if somebody shows an interest, we get them to come along to our workshop, which is like half day, and that gives them a taste of Agile. So it gives them a taste of some of the processes and some of the tools and materials that we use. And we do it very much based on their business, so they get to try it out based on their projects or their goals or what the things that they've got on their mind at the moment at that time. So that's a good way of getting kind of an idea of it. And we do a follow-up workshop as well. So that gives people the chance to go off for a month, play about with it in their own businesses, and then they all come back together, and then we have like a peer group discussion about what's worked well, what could have worked better, and how they might take it forward. So there's a small group of software development companies in Cornwall that have been working together to adopt Agile. And as part of the Agile Innovation Project, we formed an Agile direct-to-peer group. And that's where those group of directors come and meet it's usually every other month, to discuss topics of particular interest to them. So that can be around Agile, it can be around recruitment, it can be around winning new business. We've had lots of different variety of discussions where they can all bounce off each other, and we go through this process of kind of discussing the topics, getting the facts out there, and then discussing the options. And then the business, whoever's the owner of that topic, takes that away, actions it. And then the next session they feed back on the successes, so what went well, what didn't go so well, what they've done. And then that's really good for the whole group. By bringing that group of people together, there's lots of other spin-off things that have been happening. So as well as the peer group meetings, there's things like Software Cornwall, which is helping to bring education, more computer science education, to the forefront. So getting the collaboration with the universities and the colleges. We've also got the Agile on the Beach conference, which this year is like 300 people, all gathering for 2 days to talk about the latest cutting edge ways of adopting Agile and the different things going on. So it's very much kind of snowballed really and acted, I think, as a bit of a conduit for actually bringing those people together and getting them working together to win global business, not competing over local business. Agile's been a real kind of driver to help those businesses to really push themselves forward. So I think it's had quite a big mindset change for a lot of them. I think what's been most interesting is to see what the benefits were for the software companies, which were things like improved relationship with customers and quicker and faster, happier teams, those sort of things that actually aren't just applicable to software businesses. Every business would like to be faster to market. Every business would like to have happier teams. So it was kind of that revelation really that we kind of went, well, actually this could be applicable to other areas. Agile has been a great tool to help those businesses achieve what they are capable of achieving, because Agile's given them a way of doing that. It's given them the structure and the methodology and the philosophy to actually embrace those ideas and take them forward. We've helped the businesses in the software sector, but also using it with startups has been really, really valuable, because startups kind of tend to think that they've got this great vision for where they want to be, and they're kind of in that mindset of being there, and actually pulling them back and kind of saying, okay, well, this is where you are today. So what building blocks do we need to put in place in order for you to achieve your ambitions about where you want to be with a business? And that's been really valuable.